Mark 4, Matthew 13. Luke 8 describe a scene, a parabolic tale you probably know well. Wherever it is found in each biblical account, verse 7's where we read about a deadly weed. The narrative describes a case of planticide. But let's back up in time to just before the crime. The Savior talked about 4 different types of ground. A farmer was at work. His focus was the dirt. Soil sample number 3 presents the thorny weed. From everything we know, the seed the farmer sowed described the living word that fell on those who heard. The new life that was born was murdered by the thorns. They grew up side by side. That's how they lived and died. At least one died, that is, the one that should have lived. But weeding wasn't done, and now the thorns had won. Those thorns describe the thrills, the worries, and the tills, which lead us back in time to Genesis 3:5, where seeds of doubt were tossed and paradise was lost. That doubt was fertilized by lust and greed and pride. A curse was handed down, and thorns grew from the ground. Then prophecy was heard as Yahweh spoke this word. The one who told the lies, the devil in disguise. One day another seed will crush that lying weed, but it will leave a bruise inside the victor's shoes. When ground into the dirt, that weed will cause some hurt. 2,000 years it's been since will became back then. A crown of thorns brought pain to heaven's seed that day. Then planted in the earth, in 3 days he emerged. As he rose from the dead, he crushed the serpent's head. The fight would carry on, but victory had been won. Fast forward to the now, our who, what, when, and how. We still pour out the seed. Salvation's still the need. But when I think of thorns, a parallel is born. A weed comparable to Jesus' parable. A common type of plant that helps us understand. At times life is a zoo. At times it's like kudzu. Not filled with scary beasts, but fooled by thorny weeds. A foreign plant that grows, and where it stops, who knows? A horror flick, no doubt. The vine that ate the South. At least it was a vine, back once upon a time. But when we turned around, it covered all the ground. I wish there was a zoo where we could put kudzu and lock it up inside, for it eats us alive. It's hairy, I once read, but not upon its head. Don't know that I would care to see that much green hair. A bald man never needs to be outdone by weeds, or wonder if someday he'll wear a weed toupee. These ornamental plants work harder than some ants. As quietly they grow, so fast and yet so slow. But there's a principle inside their tentacles. Think tiny gospel seeds, a wilderness of weeds. Our heart a cluttered mess, consumed by weediness. Those weedy, greedy vines that creep into our minds. We worry over stuff. We never have enough, unable to discern the roots of these concerns. As far as I can tell, the taproot goes to hell. That's why each greedy wish just might smell devilish. Have you allowed the weeds to grow beside the seeds you thought would grow into a new and fruitful you? Then something made it dead, a plant-like spider web, a total covering by nature's silly string. It turned a seeded plot into a weedy knot, and with each bud it killed, an ancient plot revealed. Or let's call it a ploy to steal, kill, and destroy. From Eden to the cross, with every seed that's tossed. I hear the sower call, a question for us all. It's old and yet it's new. What kind of dirt are you?